Last year, I had two chrysanthemum plants. Like most seasonal plants, they're usually discarded after flowering if not taken care. But this time, I wanted to try something different. Instead of repotting, pruning, and giving extra care, I started being a lazy gardener. So let's check out in this video. And it's not going to be a perfect gardening guide. Anyways, welcome back to the channel, people. So, this is a real time experiment with mistakes, learning, and honest results. If you do almost nothing, will the plant still come back and bloom in its season? So, that being my question, after the last flowering season, I didn't repot the plant. I simply placed the pot on top of an empty hanging pot with some soil underneath. Over time, the roots naturally grew down into the lower pot. But the plant stayed in the same spot throughout summer, monsoon, and early winter in a semi-sheltered area where there was no direct heavy rain during monsoon, because that's what I wanted to save it from primarily. And it has no fancy soil mix with no regular fertilizing. And honestly, for months the plant looked completely fine. But when things started going wrong, that was around late October, something was off. The leaves started becoming brown, crispy, and I wasn't really sure why this could have happened because the plant was in the same location as before. So, what I did was repotting would not be ideal because by November, temperatures in northern India drops below 25 degrees Celsius, which is not ideal for repotting. So I moved it to a place where it would only receive morning sunlight. Initially, it was placed in a position toward, facing towards the west. So it only used to receive the late afternoon sun, which I thought could be the reason that the leaves got dried. But nonetheless, we shifted the plant towards the northern side where it only received morning sun. Also, the double potting, the roots have traveled towards the below pot, and we just wanted to loosen up the soil a bit. One more important thing, as you see that the plant has become very leggy, it's because I hadn't done hard pruning earlier, but that was expected in this experiment. Now, as we have removed all the dried leaves here, now which would help the plant focus all its energy on healthy growth and the blooming part as the buds have already formed. So the first two steps have been completed here, where I changed the location of the plant and did the cleaning as well. Now comes the part where I loosened the soil gently and watered the plant. The only things I used here was a little bit of vermicompost that I added and the seaweed. No chemical fertilizers, no growth boosters. Only a little bit of vermicompost towards the top layer after loosening up the soil. And the liquid seaweed is the one that I use. About 3 ml of this liquid seaweed fertilizer, mix it well with water, and then give it a good drink. Give your plant a good drink. These process. Let's check the quick update here. They would be up after 10 days. The plant looked slightly better. The buds had grown bigger, but something still didn't feel right. And wanted to check a little closer to see what probably could be the reason that it still wasn't doing so well as it was supposed to do. And mind you, compared to both of these plants, one was in a much better condition compared to the other. See, this was the one which was in a better state. The bud was also trying its best to bloom, which, I really appreciate the plant for being such a sport. But the other one still was trying really hard. Now, on a closer inspection on these plants, I noticed something white cotton-like dots, which was in cluster, and especially it sucks towards the new growth, like the new stems, which are very tender, or even the buds. So these were the aphids. And this is quite dangerous, I call, for the plants because it multiplies very fast and they weaken the buds because when they keep sucking the nutrition and the strength from these young buds, the shoots and the young tender shoots and the buds, they would eventually fall off before even it blooms. So and they can also spread to nearby plants very easily. So I'll just show you here what exactly it looks like. These white soft little things, and if you try to hold it, it'll get squished very easily. And mind you, when you touch this plant, do not even think about touching any other plant because it gets infected. It's like it spreads very easily. That's what I'm trying to say. Now that the plant has been affected by these pests, but I also wanted to mention that in between, I do spray my plants down with neem oil. Now, even after doing so, these guys, they still appeared. Okay, now I'll just tell you what exactly I did, which is somewhat like a regular routine that I try to do on most of my plants, especially the seasonal ones, because they are more prone to such pests. And I use a neem oil spray, which contains neem oil and a mild liquid soap. You may use baby shampoo or something which is mild, not a Dettol hand wash, okay? And a little bit, you can say around half a teaspoon of baking soda. That would also work. That also is good to get rid of these pests. And mix it well, with water in a spray can, and you can directly shower your plants with that. I'll show you how exactly it's done, which I will be doing now. And also, this particular method, it is absolutely organic and definitely safe for your plants because it's not very powerful. Because usually when you visit any nursery and let them know, that this is what has affected my plant, like what exactly needs to be done, they would hand you uh, a chemical pesticide, I would say, which is extremely strong. They will definitely get rid of the pest, easily, but it would also burn down your plant, which eventually, your plant will be dead because it would burn down the entire leaves, which is the prime thing for how the plants, make their food through photosynthesis. One plant, both the plants had aphids on them. And I'll show you a quick comparison on how both these plants are doing. Though the one which was struggling really bad, it was trying to bloom. Like, see, these two buds, they are actually trying its best. But the entire condition of the plant wasn't really good, which I did not had really high hopes, honestly. Was really doubting if this could make it. But now, on comparison to the other plant, if you see, this one is doing far much better. The leaves are much more greener. Treated the aphids. I used a neem oil spray mixture which contains neem oil and mild liquid soap, also a half a teaspoon of baking soda mixed with water very well, and spray it directly on the pest. Now, with a little higher pressure, it'll get wiped off, but not entirely. And do not miss onto the under the leaves and the corners and the joints. These are the places where it hides. Also, this particular method is absolutely organic and safe for plants, not very powerful. Therefore, this needs to be repeated frequently if you notice more of these aphids or any other pest on your plant. The result out of the two plants, only one recovered. The other was already too stressed. Despite trying my best, the weaker plant didn't make it. So RIP to that one. It did its best, but the surviving plant, it fought back. The buds opened, which I'm going to show you soon. Also, people often say flowering plants need full harsh sun, for like 6 to 7 hours minimum. But in my experience, my place, I do not receive that much amount of sun, only about 1 to 2 hours of morning sun or like 1 to 2 hours of late evening sun. Plus, a lot of indirect light though. And with timely cleaning, the plant did bloom. So I would say yes, the plant could have been bushier with proper pruning and better sunlight, but it still did its best. And I hope you liked what you saw. So this is what it looks like before and after. And thank you for watching. This is it for now. We'll see you soon the next time.